This is my Cowboy Carter era blueprint theory on how I think this whole year will go surrounding Cowboy Carter. So first, I'll have to start with Renaissance so you can understand how I came up with this theory based on patterns. And I explain the date theory in another video, but I'll go over the pattern of it again in this video. But if you want to check out the entire thing, it should pop up at the top of the video. But first, we have Renaissance, which dropped on July 29th, 2022. And as I'm going over Renaissance, pay attention to the pattern because when I get to Cowboy Carter, it will all make sense. But with a time jump, Beyoncé dropped the announcement for her hair care line, Sacred, on May 16th, 2023. And in that same year, she also started her Renaissance tour on May 10th, 2023. She also dropped her fragrance, C'est Noir, on October 25th, 2023. Then she dropped the Renaissance film on December 1st, 2023, and I've already said that Beyoncé loves to drop an announcement at the end of things. So in that same Renaissance film, she dropped her single My House, and I'll tell you why that's also important when we get to Cowboy Carter. But now going into 2024, she officially dropped her hair care line on February 20th, 2024. And if you think about it, that was her first big product she dropped for the Renaissance era. Then we went into Cowboy Carter, where she dropped Cowboy Carter on March 29th, 2024. So that was one of the first clues that showed me she's going by a pattern. Then, on August 20th, 2024, she announced her whiskey line for Sir Davis, which to me was another big product, but for the Cowboy Carter era this time. And then we go into her officially dropping it on her birthday, which was September 4th, 2024. Then she announced C'est Lumière on October 24th, 2024. And if you look at the pattern dates for these fragrances, then you'll see that she always drops a fragrance in October around the same date in each year. But going into 2025, we know that she's going on tour for Cowboy Carter. And that leads me to my next theory, because I think that she will do the same thing she did with Renaissance, and there will be a Cowboy Carter film of this tour as well, along with another surprise single at the end of it, if you're really following the pattern of Renaissance like I did. Now for a bonus, I added what I think Act 3 will look like as well, with it being a rock album, more video evidence coming soon, so stay tuned for that. But I also think that Beyoncé will drop another big product that goes along with Sacred and Sir Davis either this year or next year to go along with Act 3, because, in my opinion, with every project, she's also promoting products and making them whole rollouts to go along with the albums. And I never went into detail about how I think the way she promoted Sacred at her Renaissance tour was genius, and how I also think that she will do the same for Cowboy Carter, because if you didn't know, her team passed out samples of her fragrance at the shows, which to me was smart because it gives her target audience a sense of what they smell like versus her fans just ordering it and finding out once it arrives at their houses. And it's also genius because her fans are her target audience, and it's not like the people at the mall that passes out fragrance samples to anyone that walks by, but instead, it's her targeted audience. And we love a good marketing strategy when it comes to it. And while we're on the topic of fragrances, I made some examples of what I think the next fragrance bottle that could be dropping this October look like based on the colors I think she will use for Act 3. So let me know what you think. And I also think that this next one will include Say in it as well, which is another pattern she's following. But her going on tour for Act 3 as well, leading to that tour, also having a film to go with it. And I also want to add that I predict that Beyoncé could drop the Cowboy Carter tour film in theaters just like she did with Renaissance, but this time on December 2nd, 2025, which is also my birthday, so that's why I have high hopes for that. And her announcing the Renaissance film on February 1st of 2022, then the Cowboy Carter tour on February 2nd of 2025. I also predict that she will announce Act 3's tour on February 3rd of 2027, because the pattern of the dates makes sense, and because she's going along with the acts and the dates 1, 2, 3. And the same for Act 3's potential tour film with a new single revealed at the end. And this overall timeline is the reason why I have the theory that Beyoncé could be waiting until after Act 3 to release everything together. And in order, which includes my theory that she could be holding everything to put it all in order at the end of this trilogy from past to the future in some way. But if you enjoyed this style video, subscribe for more. And check out our Beyoncé-inspired storefront for all things Beyoncé linked in the description.